What's up guys, it's Maverick here with episode 10 of Kamisama ni Natta Hi. So, we are reaching the end game now. Hina's identity has been revealed, the reason for her abilities has been revealed, and she has now been taken away. Not by some shady-ass organization though, but in fact, I do believe that the organization, the corporation that's behind this, which we thought were the antagonists, are actually representatives from either United Nations or G7 or whatever you want to call it, but basically representing the elected governments of humanity, right? So yeah, it is indeed a humanity versus Hina kind of situation here. Now obviously, Yuta and the others are going to try to do something about it, but it's, you're literally going up against the world governments, right? So, I don't really know exactly how they can resolve this situation. In fact, we can have three different kinds of endings, right? One would obviously be the miracle end, which, hey, everybody still lives happily ever after. For some reason, the chip being removed from Hina's brain still doesn't really affect her, or something, a miracle happens, so she continues to live her life as a normal girl, right? That's one thing. The second one would be the bad end, right? Where the chip is removed, Hina doesn't survive the ordeal and eventually dies, or at least turns into a vegetative state, a permanent vegetative state. And maybe Yuta uses this opportunity to, obviously it's going to be a bit sad end, but he's going to use it to really cherish life a lot more, right? Or we could have the middle road, which is more of the bittersweet end, which, what I talked about in the of Hina going into a vegetative state still applies, but perhaps that's going to motivate Yuta to dedicate the rest of his life to finding a way to cure Hina. I mean, those are just some early guesses I'm throwing out. In any case, let's get into the episode and see what's going to happen from here. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Let's go start. Okay. So they're gonna go with the "some time has passed" approach. I guess we're gonna have like a flashback then. I mean, don't get me wrong, I obviously hope that Hina can be cured and whatnot, but you also don't want to make a series too sappy, right? I mean, the fact that that chip within her somehow cures her condition, and yet it's also like a super calculation chip itself is already... it's already kind of out there. Oh. We got a little bit different scenes, I believe? I don't recall that snowing scene. Yeah, and this one as well. Okay. I guess they're gonna try infiltrating or something like that to rescue Hina.
緒に。あれから僕たちは必死にヒナの行方を探したが、一つの手がかりすら見つからなかった。そして世界が終わる日を迎えてしまった。
Days had passed.
はじめまして。
Oh,
はじめまして。
you're here?
今日転入してきました。一つ下の学年ですけど。
へえ、親の転勤とかで。
親は二人ともくたばってます。
あ、それは悪いこと聞いちゃったね。
いえいえ、気にしないでください。
はあ。で、僕に何か用なの？
いえ、顔色が悪い人がいるなと思って。
睡眠時間少ないからかな。
睡眠は大事ですよ。
What is he trying to do?
頑張り時だと思うし。
受験がですか？もっと頑張り時は別にありますよ。その時のために力は貯めておいてください。
いや、今頑張らないと。
効率のいい勉強法教えますよ。僕、こう見えて頭いいんです。
大丈夫だよ。
まあまあ、気が向いたらいつでも呼んでくださいね。もう携帯に登録しておいたんで。いやー、僕、大抵のことはできる天才なんですよ。
Okay.
不思議な友達ができた。
Isn't he supposed to be
学校では4人で一緒ということが多かった。
a kohai?
イザナミさんと話が合う。
なあ、あの二人何の話してるんだ？
So, like, some time has passed already?
理解できねえも
お二人はバスケ部なんでしょ？
ん。よく知ってんな。
僕、やったことないんです。教えてもらえません？
どうするよ、ヨータ。
まあ、息抜きになるし、いいんじゃない？イザナミさんはどうする？
見学しておく。このボールをどうしろと？
なんでルールすら知らねえんだよ。そのボールをあのリングに上から通すんだよ。
で、お二人は？
ディフェンスしてやるよ。抜いてみ。まあ無理だろうけどな。
How? Is he gonna... Why does he have... crossover? Okay, so he's not just a nerd. Yeah.
まあまあ、ができたじゃない。
僕、お腹が空きました。
じゃあ、バーガーショップにでも行く？
それなら私も。僕、海外暮らしが長くて、ハンバーガーとか食べ飽きてまして。
帰国子女ってやつかよ。すげえ。
Wait, is this like literally the first dating?
じゃあ、たこ焼きとか？
いやいや、食べたことあるんで。お知り合いの店でいいところないですか？
Oh, they're going to the ramen shop?
神宮寺さんの店いいかね。
ああ、そうだね。ラーメンだったらどう？
いらっしゃいませ。あら、お友達？はい、ここのラーメンがおすすめだってお二人に聞きまして。あら、嬉しい。なんていうか、神々しい味ですね。神がかっているというか、思わず神妙な面持ちになります。ほんと、フォーリーエンジェルが効いてるわ。ありがとう。
What are you trying to do, Suzuki?
そんな日常を送りながらも、僕はヒナを探し続けた。
なんか4人でできるゲームをしません？
ああ、俺たちはバスケだけで十分なんだよ。
イザナミ先輩だって入れてあげなくちゃ。別にいいのに。
じゃあ、ボードゲームとか？
もっと頭を使って負けたら悔しくて
Mahjong?
ビリビリするようなゲームがいいです。
そんなのがあるならこっちが知りてえよ。
なるかみ先輩どうですか？
Mahjong. Yep.
うろ覚えだけど大丈夫。
What are you trying to do, Suzuki?
いいですけど。
Well, at least they're.
親の役満だからね。秋になった。模試の結果は散々で、このままでは第一志望の大学に進学は。
Is Suzuki trying to push Yoda into action?
教習に通うことになった。
Shitori.
どこにいるんだよ、ひな。あっという間に。
Really? Okay.
僕らの受験に向けての決起集会と称して、クリスマスの夜だけバカ騒ぎをした。
大丈夫国宝くん。
あーやっちゃった。
通行税いただき。楽しかった。でもどこかで空気を感じて。
I mean, props to Suzuki. He's able to just, you know, budge his way into everything.
忘れてしまうのだろうか。
You would think he would be like a socially awkward or something.
食べるかと思って持ってきたし。
うん、ありがとう。
話に聞いていた妹さんですか。映画研究部だそうですね。何か撮ってたりしていたんですか。
自主映画を作ってたんだよ。ね。
僕見たいです。どなたが出演しているんですか。見たいなら見れるけど。
Yeah, she's trying.
なるかみくんが決めればいいと思う。
見ないよ。だってあれは未完成だもの。
Yeah, he's trying to push him into remembering Hina more. To do something, but I don't.
年が明けた。けど受験生に正月なんてない。ひたすら勉強、勉強だ。
始め。
みんな手応えは。
自己採点ではギリギリなんとか。
すごい。国宝くんは。
昨日からこんな感じなんだ。
あら、ごめんなさい。受験生って本当大変なんですね。
お前も来年はこうなんだぞ。覚悟しとけよ。
僕は受けないですよ。
受けないの？じゃあなんでうちの高校に来たの？
この学校に来ると受験しないと変なんですか。ここってそこそこの進学校よ。
就職するの？
まあすでに職はあるんで。
じゃあお前何のために編入してきたんだ。
いろんなことをやりたかったからです。
まさか遊ぶために来たってのか。
ええ、普通の生活ってのを知らなかったもので、皆さんと出会えていろんなことが体験できたので、ものすごく感謝してます。バスケも楽しかったし、ラーメンも美味しかった。麻雀もすごく盛り上がったし、欲を言えばお祭りにも行ってみたかったな。あ、映画の観戦も楽しみにしてます。
そっか。もし期待に応えられていたならよかったよ。
ああ、もう
あなたがここまでバカだとは思わなかった。タイムオーバーだ。僕はカリフォルニアに帰る。
なんで僕ほどの人間がお前のような凡人の前に現れたと思ってるんだ。
Well, why couldn't you just. What are you trying to do? This makes no sense.
どういうお友達だったの。
一方的に挨拶してきて。あれ？本当だ。学年も違う。進学もしない。そんな子がどうして僕らの輪の中に入ってきたんだろう。
The common thing string them together is Hina.
ひなと過ごした日々を僕らにたどらせてきたんだ。
このボールを輪っかに通すと何か良いことでもあるのか。なんと神々しい味じゃ。頭も使うし、負けたら悔しいし、ヒリヒリしっぱなしじゃ。もうちょっとで完成じゃからな。
なんて
人が神殺しの火を使ってしまったのじゃ。
待ってくれ、待って。鈴木ひろと、君がヒナの中の神を殺したんだ。
正解です。やっと気づきましたか。ギリギリでしたね。
なんでこんな僕を試すようなことをしたの？
上司との約束で僕から言い出してはいけないルールだったんです。こっちだって危ない橋を渡ってあなたと接触してるんですよ。ちなみに僕が直接手を下したわけではありません。彼女を神で亡くしたのは人類の選択です。そのほころびをついてしまったのは僕なので、恨まれても仕方ないです。
そんなことはどうでもいい。ヒナは無事なのか？
生きてますよ。でも彼女はもう神ではありません。
教えてほしい。あの全知の力って一体何だったの？
場所変えませんか？
そんな。
でもそれが本来の彼女の姿なんです。どうしますか？
どうしますとは。
初めて会った時に言ったじゃないですか。大抵のことはできる天才なんだって。
まさかヒナに会えるの？
あなたが望むのであれば。
望むよ。
でも分かっていますよね。あなたと過ごしたあの子じゃない。それでも会う覚悟はできてますか？
できてるよ。
Okay. So with this, I think it's most likely going towards the sort of bittersweet end that I'm talking about. He's going to do his best, go into the medical field, and heal Hina.
会いたいですか？
会いたい。
では支度をしてください。しばらくは帰ってこれないので、その覚悟で。
母さん、出かけてくる。今度は長くなるみたい。
男の子が
お前たちに運転手として使われるとはな。
免許取れる年じゃないから仕方ないじゃん。
ずいぶん遠いんだね。
まあこの国の最果てのような場所です。
まるで地獄か天国のような言い方だね。
ある意味そんな場所です。
And I love how Yoda just, decides to go along with some obviously shady people. I mean, they haven't even really explained the situation to him any yet, right?
あの白い建物です。あなたはとある海外の研究所から派遣された実験助手としてパーソナルデータを偽造してあります。面会も自由になりますが、僕の偽装ももって2週間。その時こそ本当にタイムオーバーです。毎日の定期報告だけは忘れずに、この認証キーをどの端末でもいいので挿して、レポートが開いたらこの中にあるデータを入力してください。
君は来ないの？
僕の役目はここまでです。大抵のことはできる天才なんですが、逆に言えば大抵のことしかできないんです。だから僕にできることはここまでです。
そう、ありがとう。
それにこれは僕なりの食材ですよ。
え？
CEO にも伝えておきます。
CEO？
はい、僕の親みたいな人です。一緒に暮らしてるんですけど、結構だらしなくてもう大変なんですよ。
そう、なんとなくだけど君にもそういう人がいてよかった。その人にもお礼を伝えて。
はい。ではまたいつの日か。お元気で。
Have you really explained anything?
ヒロトって呼んでくださいよ。
うん、ヒロトくん元気で。
はーい。
サブサブ。
お勤めご苦労。
いやー、結構僕自身も青春ってこんな感じなんだって初めて分かったよ。
そうか。それは
So the CEO is the one who's actually essentially requesting Yoda here.
こんな狭い島国での生活なんて放り込んだよ。あれ、もしかして僕と離れ離れになるのはサブサブ？
Alright, take him to eat yakitori. I mean, sorry, not yaki. Takoyaki.
すみません、そちらに連絡があったかと思いますが。
佐藤ひなちゃんの臨床の件ですね。伺ってます。私はビジティングリサーチャーの芝です。
はい。
こちらです。どうぞ。随分とお若く見えますね。
よく言われます。
ここです。ただ驚かせないようにしてくださいね。
So she actually is still conscious, eh?
お客さんよ。叫ばないでください。驚かせないようにと言ったじゃないですか。
すみません。
ひなちゃん、こんばんは。
覚悟はできていたはずなのに、これが。
Yeah, she's in pretty much a vegetative state now.
ひな、僕がわかるかい？ヨーダだよ。髪の毛切ったんだね。こんなにも短く。
ひなちゃんとは以前にも。
ええ。
ここに来た時は丸坊主でしたよ。
どうして？
開頭手術を受けたからです。ようやく髪が伸びてきて、女の子。
Have to remove the chip.
ねえ、可愛くなったわね、ひなちゃん。
大変だったね、ひな。もう大丈夫だよ。
はい、よしよし。もう何も怖いものはないからね。大丈夫よ。よしよし。
この子を連れて帰りたいと思うんですが。
あなたが？
はい。
確認できました。確かにあなたにはその資格があります。
ありがとう、ヒロト君。
ですが、あの子がそれを望んだらの話です。あの子は男の人を極端に恐れるんです。とても怖い思いをしてここに来たんでしょう。手術もそうですし、とてもかわいそうな子なんです。だから女性スタッフだけのここの生活は。
So now his next mission is to get her to recognize him?
勝手に連れ去って、勝手に丸坊主にして、勝手に頭を開いて、それで僕のことも怖がるようになってるなんて、そんなのってあんまりじゃないか。違う、ひな。
大丈夫。
怒ったんじゃないんだ。
今日のところはここまでにしてもらえますか？
はい。
ごめんね、ひなちゃん。
なんだ、この現実は。クラクラする。ひなが一体何をしたって言うんだ。なんであいつだけこんな目に遭うんだ。あまりにひどいじゃないか。
Yeah, certainly.
そういう意味だったのか。あの人もこんな辛い思いをしたのか。
Not quite the same though.
あっても連れて帰ろうと思ってた。それなのにくじけそうな自分がいる。あんなに拒絶されて、それでも人は僕といることを望むことなんて果たしてあるんだろうか。もしかしたらあの人と同じように距離を置いて、それぞれ別々に生きた方がいいんじゃないか。
Oh, of course not.
私がヒナにとって一番いいんじゃないのか。自信がなくなっていく。
Alright, see you guys after this. Well, it is certainly sad to see Hina in that kind of state, right? Compared to her cheerful, energetic girl that she was before. This is what her road life would have been if the chip was not put in her. In fact, this is probably how she lived most of her life, actually. The energetic Hina that we saw only really came to be once the professor really started doing his work on her. However, even with all that being said, the fact that we can see Hina like this does provide some glimmer of hope to the ending of this series. But we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of this review portion. First of all, I do have some major issues with the episode and the way that it was constructed and all that, right? So, if you don't really like to listen to critical parts or critical reviews of some more emotional kind of series, I can totally get that. But I really feel like they kind of dropped the ball a lot, throughout the series and also in these last 2 episodes as well. And it kind of stems from the same problem. Now, let's talk a little bit first about Suzuki, right, and his entire situation. So, we can clearly see that his actions are sanctioned by the CEO, by the organization, and probably sanctioned by the higher-ups as well, because, there's no reason for them to deny this kind of request, right? Their only objective is to secure the chip and make sure it's safely tucked away. For Hina, they don't have any specific... it's kind of an indifferent attitude, right? They don't really care about whether Hina is, what really happens to her. And sure, if you want to do some stuff for her, go ahead, but it doesn't really concern them anymore. They've already accomplished what they set out to do. So, in this case, perhaps it was under the wishes of the CEO, perhaps it was under the wishes of Suzuki himself, but in any case, they do kind of want to at least allow Hina to have a chance of a semblance of normal life, right? So, obviously that entire thing is sanctioned. Now, my question here is, does it actually make any difference whether you just go up and tell yourself, like, hey, this is the situation, do you want to go see her, versus waiting 4 or 5 or 6 months for Yoda to figure this out himself? Like, what exactly does that accomplish? Right? What are you trying to confirm his feelings for Hina or whatnot? Like, how does that matter or factor into anything around here? Like, I just completely don't get it. Why would they need to do something like this? So, I can think of some scenarios where possibly they want to confirm that Yoda does have this very strong desire to do something for Hina, right? There are a few scenarios I can think of that fulfill this sort of requirement, that fulfill this sort of criteria, in which they might want to sort of basically try and test Yuta in some way, right? So I'm not gonna spoil it yet, or actually I shouldn't say spoil because I don't know what's gonna happen, right? I'm not gonna really voice my theories yet because it's kind of a slim chance that they will actually go this way. But if they do, like in the next episode or the episode after that, some kind of scenario where they had to test Yuta first in order to deem him if he was worthy or not of becoming the savior of Hina or something like that, then I retract my words. But as of right now, it's really seriously puzzling to me why they would need to, do this wild goose chase in a sense and basically keep the secret and yet allow Yuta to somehow figure it out himself, and the significance of that in what they are actually trying to do. All right, so that's on his side. Now, the second thing is, once again, this entire passage of time scenario. Now, I could understand also from a literary perspective, right? From a story progression type of perspective, trying to integrate this sort of passage of time feeling into an emotional series. It's been done many times before, if it's well done, it can certainly add a whole lot of emotional impact into the anime, right? Typically, it comes out as, okay, as time passes by, your memories of Hina, your memories, well, not to say, if we're talking more generically, right, your feelings towards an event or towards a person might gradually become weaker and weaker until, you require something to ignite it once again. Or it could also be a case where your feelings for this person or event grow stronger and stronger and stronger until the point that it is completely unbearable, right? But in both cases, there needs to be a change in something in terms of the emotions of the person. And once the big reveal is there, right, once after the passage of time, and then we get to a certain situation where you know, the actual thing is, you know, the climax is reached, the thing is revealed, you know, that represents a significant change, right? It's supposed to be something like that. And yet nothing happened here, right? In fact, if Suzuki did not actually kind of throw a tantrum and all that, nothing would have happened. And that completely defeats the purpose of a sort of passage of time scenario within these kinds of emotional anime or works or manga or whatever you want to call it, right? So that completely defeats the purpose of everything. Not to mention, you know, even throughout all the various activities that they did or whatnot, we didn't really get into the situation of, you know, really, you know, typically in a lot of these scenarios, I think what they were more so trying to go for was how during each kind of scenario that kind of was a parallel to when Hina and Yoda were together, they wanted to sort of strengthen his feelings and his emotions towards this, right? And really bring out the fact that he really misses Hina very much. But they didn't even show any good flashback scenes between them. And you know what and you know why? I actually know why, because the entire problem of this stems back to the problem I was talking about last episode, and that is there just isn't enough emotionally significant scenes between Yuta and Hina, right? And that is a fundamental problem of the series so far, and the way that it has been structured. Like, I'm okay with all the filler and all the, you know, ridiculous scenarios and whatnot, but they needed to account for something. And yet, at the end of the day, most of the events that happened before were a simple case of, okay, so Yoda, you're here, and you gather all the various other different characters here, and then you follow this grand plan laid out by Hina, in which she doesn't really explain anything either, right? So basically, Yuta is just going there and executing what Hina has already prescribed for him with other people, and then once everything is complete, Hina's like, okay, yeah, good job, and now everything's okay again. Like, where is the emotional connection, right? So, I you know, I hate to do this to more emotional kinds of series, but I really feel like they are falling flat in the emotional aspect of things. You know, obviously, looking at Hina, you still wish the best for her, right? She's an energetic little girl. She's a cheerful little girl. At least what we saw of her, and you know, it's really heartbreaking to see her in this current kind of scenario, right? But still, you know, putting all that aside, you can't just expect to just throw everything willy nilly on the screen and then expect us to really have the same amount of emotional impact as a series compared to a series that's well written, well paced, and well directed. Right, so I don't know. I feel like because of these fundamental problems in terms of the you know, the first half of this series, it's not really driving out the impact that it could have if they actually did it properly. So I don't know whether it was rushed or anything like that, but so far I certainly feel like it's a far cry from the sort of really emotional series that everybody was expecting from this. And again, if this is not something that you want to listen to, well, my apologies, but it has to be said, right? Because it's not really doing it for me. Now, with all that being said, I guess the one silver lining to all this, and this goes back to the hope I was talking about at the very beginning, is that I feel like with this kind of development that we had in this episode, the chances of us going towards a pure bad ending or a pure sad ending has dropped significantly, right? So I think what is more likely here is the sort of miracle end kind of situation where through some kind of miracle, Hina manages to regain her memories and regain her, you know, she successfully fights back against the logo syndrome or whatnot and manages to miraculously make a recovery, and then they all live happily ever after. Right? So that is the more sappy kind of thing. And I'm seriously hoping they don't do something like that, right? Or it's, again, we could go for the more sort of bittersweet kind of ending here, where Yuta does, after seeing Hina's situation, you know, eventually comes to the conclusion that as she is right now, you know, it's better if she is here in this facility where there are professionals taking care of her, but he's going to do his damnedest to enter the medical field and research on how to resolve the logo syndrome, how to fight against this disease, right? And then eventually, once he's all grown up and whatnot, once he's made successful research, he's going to come back, he's going to cure Hina, and then finally they can reunite once again, right? So I do think the latter situation is more likely as of right now, and that's also the situation what I'm hoping for, because we can't have miracles all the time, all the day, all day, all the time, right? That would kind of again lessen the sort of emotional payoff that we have at the very end there. So at the very least, because we see Hina here, and her situation doesn't seem to be deteriorating, right? Certainly her mental capabilities are significantly reduced and all that, but still, it doesn't seem like she's in danger of dying or getting any worse anytime soon, right? So that in itself, right, can already allow us to cross out the sort of bad end, sad end that I was talking about, where her situation continually deteriorates until she's basically dying, right? Because maybe the logo syndrome is in a way atrophying her brain completely, it's atrophying her body completely, and then she is just going to shrivel up until the point of no return, right? So at least we got that going for us, and I guess that's something to look forward to. There's a pretty good chance we could see a smiling, energetic, cheerful Hina at the end of all of this yet. So, there we go. That's it for episode 10 of Kamisama ni Natta Hi. Certainly, you are free to disagree with me if you want to, but, I always welcome discussion and discourse, right? So, if you guys do think that, hey, it actually worked for me because of whatever kind of reason, feel free to comment below, right? I'm not saying I'm the end-all and be-all of the, the authority on this subject or whatnot. So, I'm genuinely interested to see if you guys have any other feelings about this particular series. So there we go. That's it for now. I will see you guys next week as well. Bye bye.